Welcome to my first video of 2026. My name's Ian Phillips. I'm a realtor in Orange County, and today I want to go over the 2025 housing market recap. We're going to dive into median home value, how much did home values appreciate for the year, what's been going on with days on market, are we in a seller's market, neutral market, buyer's market, as well as discuss different price ranges and what that means for the luxury market and entry-level homes. I also want to talk briefly about my 2026 forecast. I will upload a completely separate video diving into that specifically though. If you're new here, I dive into housing market data as well as mostly focus on Orange County content. I haven't uploaded a video for the last few months. That's primarily because I've been focusing on TikTok. I'll upload my account here if you want to follow me over there. And to be honest, I've just been really busy representing a lot of buyers and sellers in the second half of 2025. So as someone who's been very active in the market, let's dive into exactly what happened in 2025. So 2025 is really a tale of two different markets. We have condos and townhomes, which were very, very slow for majority of the year. And I'll get into my reasoning as to why that happened. And entry-level single-family homes were really the hot topic and hot commodity for the entire year. Those homes in almost every city were flying off the shelf, selling within the first week more often than not, as long as it was reasonably priced. So if you're a buyer who is looking in that market, you probably thought it was a hot seller's market and 2021 all over again. Now we have condos and townhomes that slowed down substantially, and that is because mortgage rates really didn't drop as much as a lot of people were anticipating, as well as HOAs were increasing. So coupled with higher mortgage rates, you had higher HOAs, which make your monthly payment substantially higher. When you're paying $600 a month in additional cost, that makes a large percentage of the $700,000, $750,000 condo or townhome. So I do believe that if we get lower mortgage rates this year, then that market might free up a little bit because buyers will look at that and say, well, I'm no longer having a 7% mortgage rate, I'm having a 6% mortgage rate, so I can afford to eat that higher HOA fee that I won't be having on a single family home. Now, the other type of market was the luxury market, and that has been slow for really the last year and a half to 2 years. Once you start looking at homes above $3 million, $5 million, some of them sit on the market for 6 months, 9 months, a year, and even at the higher price points, you're seeing a year and a half days on market for the luxury housing market in Orange County. And that has really been the case since sort of 2022. We have seen that price range slow down substantially. And then you look at specific cities like Laguna Beach, where the days on market is really hinting that it is a deep, deep buyer's market. Homes are sitting for quite a long time. Now, my personal reason as to why that occurred was I think a lot of buyers in 2020, 2021 saw the low interest rates and just jumped into that kind of market and overpaid for a lot of homes. And as a result, with mortgage rates being between 6.5% and 7% for the last 2.5, 3 years, you're not really seeing a huge demand in that price range. But for the entry level, first time home buyer homes, for them, they just want to get into the market. They've seen prices skyrocket year over year for the last, I don't know, that's 15 years or something like that in Orange County. So for them, they just want to get a piece of the action. They're happy to pay a slightly higher monthly payment if they own that home compared to renting something of an equivalent sort of style. Now, as far as the actual data, we'll dive into that here. You can see the median home value is a little under $1.17 million, and that has increased by a staggering 1.6% year over year, which is the lowest appreciation that we've seen in the last 5 years. Even in 2022, when Orange County had a 10, 12% correction, at the end of the year, home values still were up around 5 to 7%. And now 1.6% is basically nothing. If you want to zoom in to the 1 year chart, this is going to be flat. Look at this. This is Orange County. Basically did nothing all year. In February, it doesn't show January for some reason, but February 2025, we were at 1.18, and now we're at 1.17. If we look at the 2-year, you can see that in January 2025, 1.174, it's it's done nothing all year, essentially. This 1.67, 1.6% could honestly just be a rounding error when you're looking at data like this. Orange County still has outperformed California as a whole. You can see California has basically just been flat since 2022 with the median home value at 790,000, and now California is at 784,000. So California as a whole has essentially done nothing for over 3 years. You can see this is when the market sort of peaked in July of 2022, and it's still the same price 3.5 years later. Now, I do want to get into active listings because that has declined rapidly ending off 2025. You can see in the middle of the year, July 2025, there were 5,500 active listings on the market. And we're ending the year at 2,900. So the available homes for sale has almost been cut in half. And when I was working with a lot of buyers at the end of last year, that is the issue that we were running into. There were tons of homes available during summer, and then every single month they were just falling off a cliff. So although they were ready to buy, some of them cash buyers, some of them pre-approved 20-25% down, there really just wasn't that many homes to choose from. And I'm sure if you're a buyer watching this video, you are probably also running into the issue. Now, fortunately for two of my buyers, we found a home in December, got all their closing costs paid for, and we're closing this in the first week of January, so probably by the time you're watching this video. Now, days on market has also increased going into the end of the year, which is very, very normal. You can see if we go back to 2024, it did the exact same thing. Started the year off in sort of middle of the year, we were in a seller's market and then shifted to more of a neutral market. And that's exactly what happened here. 70 days on average for homes sitting on the market. So in my opinion, we're going to see what we saw in 2025. Beginning of the year will be a neutral market. Some areas will be a buyer's market. And as you'll also start to see increase in listings, but at the same time, more buyers will be entering the market. So I do believe days on market will decrease going into the middle of 2026, like it's done every single year. You can see that it is very, very accurate as to when that happens. Without fail, January rolls around, days on market start to decrease every month going into the middle of the year. And it looks like May, June is sort of when it is peak seller's market. So if you're a seller wanting to put your house on the market, look to March, April to list that home because chances are there's going to be substantially more buyers getting into the market. If you're a home buyer, then maybe sort of looking right now is when you're going to get the best deal. Keep in mind, there are also fewer homes available for sale. Now, pending listings, this is the number of homes that are getting into escrow, a good indication of buyer demand, and that declined in the last few months of 2025 as well. You can see in September there were 2,000 homes in escrow, and this remained pretty constant from March to September. And then November, 1,700, and December ended the year with only 1,300 homes in escrow. And this is sort of in line with what happened in December of 2024, December 2023, and December 2022. Very, very interesting. I do want to check active listings just to compare what happened. So in December of 2024, there were actually more listings than there are on the market now. So that is kind of interesting to see. So when you look at demand, demand remained relatively the same every single December, even though active listings were lower. You'd think that demand would be higher. You think that the number of homes in escrow would kind of be higher if the number of active listings are also higher. And that kind of aligns with my expectation that the market has shifted more neutral. And this is kind of the first time that we've seen this. Almost every buyer I represented in 2025, we were getting credits toward closing costs and homes were selling for below list price. Very interesting. Number of sold listings, this is where you get that median 1.17 million. And this has kind of remained flat all year, sort of normal, dipped into November, and a little uptick in December. Now, I do want to get into the month supply of inventory, arguably the most important set of data if you're buying or selling a home. And that peaked at 3.2 months of available supply, which is bordering more of a neutral market. And now we're cut in half, basically, 1.68 months supply of inventory. So that is saying buyers were stepping into the market in the second half of 2025, but also listings were declining. So in my opinion, I think month supply of inventory is going to increase in 2026. I do think there will be fewer buyers entering the market in 2026 compared to 2025 if mortgage rates remain the same as they are now. Potentially, we could see mortgage rates dip into the fives this year. Now, that would, of course, drive a lot more buyers into the market. If we see that, then month supply of inventory might actually remain pretty flat, as lower mortgage rates equate to homes being more affordable. So obviously, we'll have to wait and see what happens. No one has a crystal ball. My expectation, if I was a betting man, I would say the housing market in Orange County for 2026 is going to do exactly what it did in 2025. I think in the first half of the year, you'll see a lot more buyers entering the market. You'll see home values increasing. Multiple offers will be more common. Not every home, not every city will have multiple offers, but it will be more common. And as a result, you will see home values increasing into summer. And then I think, same as it did this year, August, September rolls around, home values will decline, homes will sell for under list price cuts will be more common, and credits will be more common for buyers. Now, the caveat with that is when mortgage rates will decline. When will they cut rates multiple times? If they continue cutting into summer, into the end of the year, maybe we see a pause in the first half of this year, then potentially buyer demand increases in the second half of the year. I do think mortgage rates will be a hot topic this year. I will upload videos with my economic forecast of Orange County. I'll do a deep dive into mortgage rates, what affects them as well. So stay tuned for that. But I think it is more likely to be a repeat of 2025. I don't believe we're going to have 10, 15% appreciation in 2026. I think it's going to be more of a neutral market. I think you will have modest appreciation, maybe 3%. I do think it will be a better year for appreciation than 2025. 1.6% is pretty negligible. That means majority of home values did absolutely nothing. If you like this video, subscribe for more, and if you're looking for an agent in Orange County, you can check out my website in the description below. To contact me, browse for homes, or get a free home valuation. I will be back to my regularly scheduled programming, at least one video per week, so stay tuned for that. Subscribe if you're interested. I'll see you next time.